When my grandparents passed away, they left behind something most families could only dream of, a $3 million estate, including the house I grew up visiting every summer. But what they didn't leave behind was peace. From the moment their will was read, my family turned on each other like wolves fighting over scraps. I was 23 then, freshly graduated and still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. My grandparents had loved me deeply. I was the quiet one who helped them with errands, fixed the roof when no one else would, and stayed by their side when they were sick. They'd always said, "Liam, we trust you to do the right thing." When the inheritance was announced, the family's masks came off. My uncle started calculating his share, before the lawyer even finished reading. My aunt cried loudly, claiming she had always been the favorite. My mother, who'd never visited her parents in their final years, started giving me fake smiles every time we spoke. The will was simple. The estate and assets were to be split evenly among my mom, my uncle, and me. But it didn't take long for greed to twist everything. They started arguing over the house, the cars, the jewelry, even the furniture. I wanted no part in it. But after one particularly ugly fight, where my uncle accused me of stealing his parents' affection, something inside me shifted. I decided to test them, not to be cruel, but to finally see their true colors. The next morning, I met privately with my grandparents' lawyer, Mr. Carter, a man who'd known our family for decades. "I want to put my share of the estate in a trust," I told him. He raised an eyebrow. "That's a wise move for your age. What's the condition?" "That no one knows," I said. "Not even my mother. And I want the funds to be frozen until I decide otherwise." Mr. Carter looked at me for a long moment before nodding. "You're your grandfather's grandson, all right." We drafted the papers quietly. My share, roughly $1 million, went into a trust under my name, inaccessible to anyone but me. The rest of the assets were released as planned. And then, the show began. At first, my mother and uncle celebrated. My uncle bought a new car. My mother bragged to her friends about her parents' legacy. But within a few months, the money started running out. I kept living modestly, driving my old truck, working a small tech job, and never mentioning the trust. That's when the calls started. "Liam," my mother said one night, "you still have that money in your account, right? You should help your family out." "Help with what?" I asked. "Your uncle's investment went bad, and I had to cover some bills. We're family, we take care of each other." I almost laughed. Family takes care of each other? That's rich coming from the woman who told me to sell Grandpa's tools for quick cash. She hung up, furious. A week later, my uncle showed up at my apartment, red-faced and smelling like whiskey. "You think you're better than us," he shouted. "You've been hoarding money while we're drowning." I didn't argue. I just said, "You had your chance. You wasted it." After that, they both stopped talking to me. Word spread through the family that I was greedy and heartless. I didn't defend myself. I let them talk. Months passed. Then, one afternoon, I got a call from Mr. Carter. "Liam, you might want to come down to the office," he said. "Your uncle and mother are trying to challenge your portion of the will." When I arrived, they were already there, smug and confident. Their lawyer claimed I'd manipulated our grandparents into leaving me too much. I sat quietly, letting them speak. When they finished, I turned to Mr. Carter. "Would you please show them the trust documents?" I asked. He smiled faintly and pulled out a sealed folder. "This is the trust your grandparents' grandson created after graduation." He placed his entire share under legal protection, untouched, unspent, and entirely in compliance with the will. My mother's eyes widened. "You put it in a trust?" I nodded. "Yes. I didn't spend a cent. I wanted to see what everyone else would do with theirs first." The room went silent. My uncle's face flushed red. "You tricked us." "No," I said calmly. "You revealed yourselves. Grandpa used to say, money doesn't change people, It shows them. I just let it happen. The challenge was dismissed within minutes. My mother and uncle stormed out, leaving me alone with Mr. Carter. He chuckled softly. You handled that with more grace than most adults twice your age. I learned from the best, I said. A year later, my mother reached out. She'd lost most of her inheritance and wanted to make amends. I agreed to meet her, not out of anger, but closure. When we sat down, she started crying. I was so wrong about you, she said. I let money turn me into someone I don't recognize. I didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, I slid an envelope across the table, a copy of a letter I'd written for the trust. It stated that, after 10 years, the trust's entire value, with accumulated interest, would be transferred to a scholarship fund for students raised by their grandparents. She looked at me, stunned. You're giving it away? Not all of it, I said. Just the part that belonged to them. They gave me love. I'm passing that on. Her tears fell silently. For the first time in years, she didn't have anything to say. As I walked away from that cafe, I felt something I hadn't felt since the reading of the will, peace. Because my test hadn't just revealed who my family was. It had reminded me who I was. And in the end, that was worth far more than $3 million.